May the peace, mercy, and blessings of God be upon you. Welcome to your channel, Al-Hikayah. It is a channel specialized in stories that aim to comply with Islamic values and qualities. Let us follow our story today.
All right, today we're jumping into a really powerful parable. It's a timeless story about a sacred promise, a temptation that's almost impossible to resist, and what happens when people get a little too clever for their own good. So, this is the big question at the heart of it all. What happens when a sacred rule is, well, bent, but maybe not technically broken? It's a story that really makes you think about the spirit of the law versus the letter of the law. So, let's get into it. So our story kicks off in what you could pretty much call a paradise, a small community living in perfect harmony with the sea, all thanks to a very specific pact they had made. Just picture this, a quiet, happy little village right on the coast. The people are content, their livelihoods are secure, and all their prosperity comes directly from this incredibly generous ocean right at their doorstep. Life is good, it's simple, and it's blessed. But of course, all this prosperity came with one single condition, a divine rule they had to follow, a covenant. Saturday was sacred. It was a day for rest, a day for worship, not for work. A pretty simple rule, right? But this very rule was about to become the ultimate test of their faith. And you can't have a real test of faith without a major temptation, can you? And for this village, the temptation that appeared was, well, it was almost impossible to ignore. And this is where things get really, really difficult for them. See, on any other day of the week, the fishermen struggled. The sea was practically empty. But on Saturday, the one day they couldn't fish, the sea would just come alive. We're talking swarms of fish right by the shore, practically jumping out of the water. It was this weekly spectacle of immense, untouchable wealth. I mean, you can just feel the frustration building, can't you? Week after week, they're watching this incredible bounty just swim by. And slowly, that respect for their covenant starts to curdle into greed and resentment. And that question starts bubbling up. There has to be a solution. There's gotta be a way around this. And well, wherever there's a will to find a loophole, a deceiver is never too far behind. This is the turning point, where all that temptation finally gives birth to a truly cunning plot. So one of the villagers comes forward with what he thinks is a foolproof plan. His logic is simple. The command says not to work or fish on Saturday. Okay, but it says nothing about collecting fish that were already caught. He's found a technicality, a way to obey the letter of the law while completely defying its spirit. It's a classic bit of rationalization, isn't it? The kind of thing we still see today, where finding a clever loophole feels way more important than upholding a principle. And here's their brilliant four-step deception. On Friday, they do all the prep work, setting out nets and digging trenches. On Saturday, while they're all resting, the traps do all the work for them. Then, comes Sunday, they just stroll down and collect their massive haul. And in their minds, no rules were broken. They didn't sin. They just outsmarted the system. But this clever plan didn't unite the village. It shattered it. The community, once so peaceful and harmonious, was now completely split by this single, fateful decision. The village basically fractured into three distinct groups. First, you had the deceivers, who jumped right on board with the plan. Then you had the advisors, the righteous few who saw the danger and tried to speak out. And finally, you had the silent. And this split isn't just a plot point. It's like a mirror for how societies often react under moral pressure. You've got the ones pushing the boundaries, the ones warning of the consequences, and maybe most critically, the silent majority, whose inaction can end up deciding the whole thing. A wise elder, a sheikh, he steps forward and pleads with them. His warning is direct and powerful. He sees right through the loophole. He says, this isn't cleverness. This is a trick against God. It's clear disobedience, and it will bring terrible consequences. But the leader of the deceivers just scoffs at him. His reply is just dripping with sarcasm and self-righteousness. He twists the whole argument, trying to frame their greed as some pious act of collecting a gift from God. The conversation's over. Now here's where that third group, the silent, comes in. One of them turns to the sheikh and basically asks, why bother? These people are doomed. Your words are wasted. Just leave them be and save yourself. It's just this moment of total cynical despair. And the sheikh's response is just magnificent. He explains he speaks out for two reasons. First, to fulfill his own duty to God and be absolved of any blame. And second, out of this tiny sliver of hope that maybe, just maybe, his words might still reach someone and lead them to repent. The warnings go unheeded. The deceivers carry on with their charade. And then, one morning, an unnatural silence falls over the village. The day of reckoning has arrived. Imagine the scene. The sun rises, but the part of the village where the deceivers live is deathly still. No smoke from chimneys, no voices, no doors opening. It's the kind of quiet that isn't peaceful, but heavy, suffocating. The air itself feels wrong. All the familiar morning sounds are just gone, replaced by this unnerving, absolute void. The righteous villagers, the advisors, step out of their homes into this oppressive silence. A shared glance of dread passes between them. They gather in a small, tight group, their whispers swallowed by the quiet. Hesitantly, they move as one towards the silent homes. What happened? Where is everyone? Their fear is at war with a desperate need to know. Finally, someone gives a grim nod. With hearts pounding, they break down a door. What they find inside is the story's horrifying climax, a divine punishment that serves as a permanent and terrifying lesson. It's an unimaginable sight. The people who thought they were so clever, who schemed and plotted to trick God, they were no longer human. They had been transformed, their physical form now reflecting the nature of their transgression. So, what happened to the others? Well, the story is very clear. The wrongdoers were punished, but those who actively advised against the evil, the ones who spoke up, they were saved. And the fate of the silent group? It's left ominously unmentioned, a chilling void in the story that serves as its own powerful testament to the danger of indifference. It suggests that when faced with clear wrongdoing, silence is never a neutral position. And this is the ultimate takeaway, the moral encapsulated in this final verse. It's not just about not doing evil yourself, but about the duty to forbid it in others. The story leaves us with a provocative question. When faced with a clever deception, is it enough to simply stay silent? Or does true righteousness demand a voice?